one chat at a time.
Hi guys, and welcome to episode 4 of Keeping the Arts Alive, One Chat at a Time, Season 2.
Today we're chatting with lyric soprano Verity Wingate.
So if you enjoy, please like, comment and share with your friends and family.
Enjoy! Hi Verity, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, we're not bad.
We're good.
We're not bad.
Very nice to meet you.
You too.
We're going to kick straight off. We're going to go for, when did you first fall in love with classical singing?
Tricky. I first saw an opera when I was about 11, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I always sang in choirs. That's pretty traditional for a lot of us British singers. So yeah, I did a choir in junior school. And there was like a chamber choir, which was the fancy one. And took me five auditions to get in.
You got there, you got there.
I got there. And yeah, I sort of just slowly, bit by bit, was introduced to different things. And but I think the first opera I saw was a pretty big part of falling in love with it all.
What was the opera?
It was Don Pasquale at the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, and Juan Diego Flores was singing. So it was pretty good first opera experience.
Yeah, it was a good one. Moving a bit further down in your education, you went to the Academy and Guildhall. How did you find conservatoire training?
It was actually pretty hard sometimes. I think everyone experiences that. My bachelor's was very, very intense at the Academy, and it took me a while to get the balance with teacher and things like this right. But certainly by the time I was doing masters at Guildhall, things started to get easier. But it was pretty amazing to be exposed to so many amazing musicians and just the opportunity to work with so many coaches who, later in my career, I've circled round to people that I worked with, nice. A decade ago. And so that's really nice. There's this kind of big group in the field. So that was really great, actually.
Really nice. What advice would you give, to your younger self if you were just starting out again? What advice would you give?
I think learn what not to take too seriously and to learn not to be so hurt by some people, especially people that in the end you realize their opinion is really not so worthwhile. And to really just hold on to the experiences that were really rewarding, and there were many of them, but to just really realize that the really wonderful people that you come across in college life, they're the people that are actually working and that are actually important. And so to not really pay so much attention to all the other stuff that comes with college life that can be a bit hard or a bit damaging or whatever. And I think I would just not take that so seriously if I was to do it again.
Would you say that working life is so different to conservatoire life? Because conservatoire life can be harsh, really harsh.
Definitely. Honestly, the college years are harder, and I think in the UK we have a really, really rigorous system that is really challenging, and I think that's a really great thing, because actually when you come out into the working environment, if you've done the British college system, you're pretty prepared. It's never as mean as the college life for the most part. So in a way it's different, because actually it can be easier in many ways, the working environment. Some things don't get me wrong, some things are very difficult, but I think the British college system's pretty good at preparing you for that kind of thick-skinned feeling.
So that's good.
Having to be ready, I suppose. So let's go on now to your first job after graduating. So what was that?
While I was at Guildhall, I did a project with a group called the Prince Consort, and we did this really lovely concert at Wigmore Hall of Brahms' Liebeslieder Walzer and of love songs by Stephen Huff. Yeah, my fave too. And after that project, they asked me to join them in making a video of Danny Boy, which was really nice. And we made this really lovely classical video. And after that, they invited me to become a permanent member of the group. And that was like a Classic FM thing, which I then went on to do a series of. And
so cool.
that was such a nice way to start my freelance life, because it was such an amazing, friendly group of people who are some of my best friends still to this day. And yeah, it was just like the best of times. Like, you meet up with a lovely group of people, make lovely music. What could be better?
Really? Sounds great.
So then in 2018, in the summer, you were covering the role of Pamina at Garsington Opera. And I mean, due to illness of the lead, you actually had to step in at the last minute. And so what was your first initial reaction to this news?
So I found out at 11 o'clock on the day of the show. Yeah, because the what's usually in place in the protocol in opera companies is that the performer, it's fair enough, given you have to bear in mind that, you know, we as opera singers are paid for a show, which means that if you're sick, you lose that money. So it's fair enough that they allow the singer who's singing the role until, I think it's until midday actually, to make the decision as to whether they feel well enough to go on or not. So yeah, 11 a.m. I got the call. And I got a call from them, and I thought, this is weird. Yeah, and then they're like, so you need to get on a train. It was like having a therapist at the other end talking me through it. So you need to get on a train as soon as possible and get up here, don't worry, you've got. And so I had like 15 minutes with the conductor to just go over tempos. I had, but you know, it was so amazing. The majority of the cast came up early to rehearse anything I wanted. They didn't have to do that. But they, you know, Adrian Thompson, who teaches at the Guildhall, what a wonderful man, came up early and was like, oh, we've got this little fight scene, do you want to go over anything? And, you know, so
nice.
Of course, it was so sweet. So of course there was a bit of panic on my part. I was on the train like, it's happening. But once it started happening, it was just so exciting. But it was also, I realized this was one of the biggest lessons I ever learned on that day, was if you're in that situation, just say yes to everything. Before I knew it, you know, I woke up in the morning thinking I was singing chorus. By the afternoon, I was stood topless in front of an entire camera crew who were fitting my microphone. And you know, and they're just there, like, and I'd never done an opera role before in my life, because it just so happened it was the filming day of their tryout filming day. So everything was just, you know, just say yes and just go for it, because if you don't, you'll just miss an opportunity of a lifetime. So you just have to go, okie dokie then. Off I go. So yeah, it was great. It was brilliant fun in the end, but it was scary.
So after this, your operatic debut, you were offered to join the Dutch National Opera, the studio of that, which you're currently working at. So can you talk us through this experience so far?
So yeah, very much in the same way that Pamina happened. It was a very last minute thing. They called me up and they'd asked me to audition, and I had auditioned, and they said, we're really interested, but we don't have a spot for you right now. We don't have a soprano slot. And then they had a soprano drop out, and again, and so they said, can you, well, Rosemary Joshua, who heads the studio, she said, can you look at this music and sing these scenes to me in a couple of days in my flat? I was like, okie dokie. And then 5 days later, I moved to Amsterdam to sing a role. Wow. So again, another last minute job. So first I did a guest role at the house, and then I joined the studio in the September after that, September 2019. And yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, I love Amsterdam. What a wonderful city. It's amazing.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's so beautiful, and the people are so lovely. I have a really nice like little Dutch family going on here, and yeah, it's so nice. Studios are very hectic, to say the least. You have to be quite ready. I have to say, I think the British college system prepares you pretty well for studio life. It's that really fast pace, need to be able to learn music. Well, you don't need to be able to learn music quickly, but preferably you can. And it certainly makes your life easier if you can.
Yeah.
And it's that same thing of a lot of coaching, a lot of different opinions, and having things thrown at you all the time.
Yeah.
But I guess the difference between studio and college is that you're more able and should be rejecting more of those opinions and choosing your own.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
that's
you
right.
know, I'm the artist, so sure, thanks for the ideas, but you know, this is what I want to do. And so that's really important. And then, of course, being exposed to A-list house casts and conductors. That's a very important part. And you're going to get things wrong, but I think the important thing is that you learn. The day that you make the mistake, you learn and you don't do it again. You know.
Exactly.
But it's a great environment, and for somebody like me, you know, I didn't get into opera school, so for me it's built that experience, and I've learned any acting craft, and anything has just come from on the job.
Amazing.
If anything,
Exactly.
you've skipped a stage.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, which was so strange, because, you know, after being rejected from opera school, you're a bit like, oh my God, what am I going to do now?
What do I do now?
Like, you know, because in the UK they put such an emphasis on the education thing and the step-by-step thing.
Yeah.
I mean, here, this is the thing, if you join a studio, it's so international. Half of them, you know, I'm not old, but I'm not young for the studio. Some of them are 21, 22.
Wow.
They've never done any music college education.
Okay.
That's normal.
Wow.
In an international platform, you know, Russian. I mean, I just did Salzburg, and this girl who was working with me, she was 22. She was finishing her bachelor's while being on the Fest contract at Vienna Staatsoper. Like, that's
oh my gosh.
a normal European
route
and global route.
It's quite refreshing.
It's refreshing to hear.
It's very refreshing, and I think it's something that Brits need to think about a bit more, because we're so obsessed with this, like, bachelor's, master's, opera school, and then maybe a studio.
And that
in the rest of the world, they're like, what?
Yeah.
So,
true.
Yeah,
so talking of Amsterdam, do you think you'll stay there, or what's the plan?
I'm actually going to come back to the UK for some personal reasons, and yeah, just I think while I have a lovely team here in Amsterdam, I can always come back to visit the team. But once the studio's finished, I think I won't be working in the Netherlands for some time. So then there's also Brexit and things to consider as well, sadly. But so the way things are shaping so far with my next season and things, I think the UK for a little while, especially given Corona, will be a sort of nice, not too much financial responsibility for a bit.
I mean, talking of Corona, the dreaded word, how would you say this has affected your current season? Has it affected it a lot, or?
Yeah, I mean, it affected both seasons quite a lot, because I ended up doing a couple less operas last season. I was supposed to do a Carmen and things, so that all got cancelled. And then this season I was supposed to be doing an Aida, couple of other things, but actually, you know, in some ways then something else has come up, because it's a weird web. It's a weird web of chaos. But the way that I'm tried to see it at least, is I'm extremely fortunate, and I just take it that way, that I've been on the studio receiving a salary and continuing to work on my voice, which is unbelievably lucky.
So did you continue having, I don't know if you had coachings, did that continue the whole way through?
Yeah, so during the first lockdown, it did continue, but it was all online. So it was about 90% just language coachings, which was quite interesting. And then we just took time for ourselves to do our singing practice. And we all learnt, the whole studio learnt the Rape of Lucretia as a sort of exercise, because we had all of the voices. And then once restrictions lifted a bit, we just sang it in the auditorium just for ourselves. But it was an exercise in, learning a whole role by yourself at home.
Interesting.
It was really good, actually.
How was that for you? Did you really enjoy that?
I loved it. It was because it's quite a challenge. Learning a Britain role is always a challenge. I was doing female chorus, and actually, vocally speaking, it was a dream, because I just sort of took things at a slow pace, prepared something in my own time, but also had the journey to go through of learning an entire role. And actually, I would recommend anyone who's feeling a bit undermotivated, as we have all felt during Corona, I would recommend just choose a role that you want to and just commit to learning it. It's such a great task. It's like reading a really good book. You know,
such a good idea.
It is a good idea.
It keeps you on track with something. You know, something.
It's a focus.
Moving forward, aren't you? In some way, you're learning something new.
So, what is lined up for you next? What's the next project?
What am I doing? So right now I'm doing a radio recital, again with the Netherlands Philharmonic, which will be really nice. I'm doing some contemporary music, some Mozart, that kind of thing. It's a really varied program. And then we're doing like online recitals for the sponsors and donors of the opera, that kind of thing. But my next big thing, I'll be heading back to Salzburg to do Electra again.
Cool.
And the Young Singers Project, if it goes ahead, at Salzburg. So this summer. So yeah, another year, because I was supposed to do that last season, but it got cancelled. Electra went ahead, but the YSP was cancelled. So we'll see if that works out.
Crossed for you.
All things
Also, I think congratulations is in order, because you just recently got signed to InterMusica. Amazing.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. So how did this come about? That's so exciting.
So that's also been a very interesting learning thing. So they were actually called, with a few other people, they were called when I made my Pamina debut. The day that I got the phone call, they also got a phone call to say, we've got this young person filling in, we think, we'll give you tickets. So my agent at InterMusica was one of the ones that they called. And she's been watching me since then. And, as I said, I didn't really have much experience then. I was just sort of thrown in and fine. So I needed a little bit more under my belt until they really, went for it. So with Ritratto, this big contemporary opera that I've done at the Dutch National Opera, that because that has partly because of Corona has had a lot of attention. We were the first new opera to be streamed, because it happened on the day that Corona hit. So it was the first of any around the world to make a online world premiere. And then it got picked as BBC Music Magazine opera recording of the year 2021. So it's really snowballed. So that was a big part of InterMusica growing an interest in me. And yeah, it's been a sort of a conversation between me and people who have supported me since Pamina, and a group effort, because I didn't go the competition route at all. So I've just sort of quietly been popping up here and there, working in the background. So yeah, because it just took a while for the opera thing to come about, because I
Yeah.
really was not more of a song person.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's been a slow
Yeah.
process. And yeah, with Isla, I just sort of knew, because I'd had people approach me in the past, but with Isla, I could see that she had a plan for me, and she had the right
Vision
thought
for you.
process.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Again, another bit of refreshing
Yeah, it's nice.
information to know that you
Yeah.
don't have to do all the competitions. You don't have to go to opera school. It's really nice to hear, actually.
There are other ways. Everyone has their own path.
So, what would you say would be your dream opera role?
I have a couple. I think for the near future, Agatha in Der Freischutz
Nice.
is one for the coming years.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's very hard these questions. Then then yeah, I mean, the pipe dream for much further down the line, much further, but Electra it's in there. I can't get it out of my head.
Definitely.
I can see you as a lecturer, definitely.
One day, maybe. But Chrysotomis first. That would be that. I mean, I would enjoy just as much. So yeah, perhaps one day.
Amazing. So we're going to ask you a little question we're asking everyone for season 2, which is, if you were to look at your phone or a device of yours right now, what is the last bit of music you've been listening to?
What was it? I won't include the stuff that I'm working on, because that would be a bit boring. The last thing I was listening to was some Chopin.
Oh.
I was listening to Evgeny Kissin playing Chopin Nocturne Opus 27.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Very nice.
Total nerd.
Love that.
Why not?
Yeah, that and oh, it's rather an eclectic mix. That Electric Light Orchestra and
Lovely.
the Russian album from Anna Netrebko. So
Perfect. What a mixture.
the mix.
A nice cocktail there
Yeah,
of
lovely.
tunes.
Well, Verity, it has been amazing catching up with you and chatting with you.
Yeah, it really has.
And I think it's definitely fair to say it's going to be very exciting, your future.
Yes.
And we hopefully might have to get you back on to talk about a few more things.
Yes, definitely.
Sure, anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.